Hello and thank you all for watching. This is Manny Sunny Sun for an astro weather report. We'll be speaking about the energies of the month of October 2015. When a system reaches its limit, either it's implode or collapse is the metamorphosis, quote by Edgar Morin. So in the autumn period, when the sun reactivates the energies of the sign of Libra, the complementary opposite to that of the Aries home, how could we have a sense of crises we are going through? How to keep the course in these times of chaos and turmoil? Our company would lost her purpose. A crisis always expresses an imbalance. The word crisis comes from the Greek, which means choice, so that the choices are we going to find balance. We are very numerous in recent centuries to destroy this balance. We are now 7 billion. You should, by the extensive program. We are in the year 8, elevated to the role of justice in 2015, then to any justice to what order, to which organization, and how harmonious are you? Do we want to end this year? What would become of us without justice? The card for the justice card is card number 8. And that of the Emperor. So on September 23, the portal of the autumnal equinox has opened that thanks to that to the energy of Venus. The planet never strays more than 45 degrees of the solar star. It is the evening star, the one who shows us the way both in the morning and that of the evening. Venus has always enjoyed considerable importance among the ancients, especially among the Mayans and the Aztecs, where it is symbolized by Quetzalcoatl. Venus is the origin of the Ankh, expressing the reconciliation of opposites. The Ankh is the symbol of millions of years of future life, right by Albert Kapoor in his Book of the Dead. So we do support the energies it gives off, that which is related to our fourth chakra, the heart. The energy of Libra reminds of fates of daughters of Themis. They ensure not only the fate of mortals, but also the movement of celestial spheres and harmony of the world. They are the detaining thread of human destiny. As the clotho spins the thread of life, lechesis, that measures the strength of the anthropos, since the slice when sounds of the hour of destiny. It is not the time of the eternal present. What is the myth that evokes in you, and how do we manage our time? How we express our Venus is that wonderful energy that opens gateways to the fall. The motion of Venus this summer, combined with the aspects of conjunction with Jupiter and square off to Saturn, could make us think about how to live our life within relationships. Many of us have gone through moments of our emotional or friendly turbulence. For some have led to significant questionings. Currently, over the past months, September and October, Venus continues through its journey to Mars' side in the sign of Virgo, but opposite to Neptune and Pisces, and square off to Saturn, gives Libra energies its hand. Not bad for the current crisis, shall we say. So what do we choose? Do we get overwhelmed by the crises, or will we explore our inner workings to better grasp the meanings of what is happening outside? Recently, it is told by a beautiful story full of meaning. A young depressed woman visits her mother, and it is too bad seeing inform him of the experiment. She asks her daughter to fill 3 pots with water. The first she places carrots, in the second she puts an egg, in the third coffee. It explains why of this experience when you put a carrot in water, initially it's hard, but after cooking it, it softens. The egg is fragile at first, but becomes hard after the experience of hot water, and coffee is transformed in the same to water to become a wonderful brew. So this new moon of October 13th, in phase of life of crisis, we can soften or stifle or turn. And I'll post a map down below this video. So the sun and the moon are at 20 degrees of Libra in the third decadent of this sign of cardinal air. What does the symbol of the 20th degree of Libra? A rabbi in his act suggests an ancestral wisdom. We have great need of wisdom. If the natives of the second decadent sometimes have the utopian vision of harmony, The natives of the third decan are more externalized in their own thinking, even if it's still in the seat of state. Do not forget that Libra is in the west, where the energies that have been put in place by the time of the sun was transiting during the sign of Aries are little but by little transform into objective reality. We could see all that with the previous new moon during the eclipse in Virgo. Circumstances and events have not been easy because on one hand there was a need, to look for the truth in front, and on the other hand not to lose faith. With Neptune, Chiron, and Pisces here, the effects of the eclipse are often felt for weeks and sometimes even a 6-month period. The new moon opposes Uranus, Aries in the 9th house, and double squared with Pluto in Capricorn, a pattern that reminds us of the painful migration of these figures that should, for a reason of safety and survival, leave their country and move to other places, where they hope to be welcome and find the options to install. Not to mention those whose life is precarious in our country and who do not always know how to get out, and that becomes a real dilemma. For the record, at the end of the Second World War, the exodus of refugees who crossed from Europe, very much for very numerous reasons, and today, and integrations, have to do in totally devastated countries by years of war and tears. The Black Moon is in balance. They reactivate for each of us a visceral fear of losing our place, to be excluded or not exist. With a Black Moon, one must ask these questions. Let's run away, or do we say refuse? So how can we compensate this sense of non-place, of injustice? An interesting but effective key is to be aware of the roots of our suffering, because the fact to grasp the meaning helps us to put in solutions that will then be needed to apply. So Uranus is often linked to upheavals, revolutions, and fanaticism, but also Uranus represents humanitarian efforts. Uranus in Aries opposes to Libra. This Libra new moon, in what way are we able to deal with these two characteristics so different between the need for harmony, fairness, and sometimes fanatical subconscious need to bring our identity? Pluto always represents major upheavals. See Pluto-Neptune cycle for 5,000 years. 500 years, and Pluto-Uranus 127 years, that mark the rhythm, the evolution of humanity. So Pluto is one of those facets of corporate power, mafias, and is predisposes also through its other side to surprising metamorphosis through the acceptance of different phases of purifications that life offers. With the Capricornian energy here, there is some work to be done. Again, to what choices are we going to be directing us with this double square of Pluto opposition of Uranus in Libra new moon? The other aspects of this new moon is the opposition with Neptune Pisces, Venus in the 8th house, Mars Jupiter in Virgo, double square off to Saturn. In view, what we live, each of us personally, and not to take into account of social events, climate and planetary, the cluster in Virgo challenges our security and values. Our possessions, which will automatically reactivate our fear of missing. The square off to Saturn here in the 4th house and the opposition to Neptune in the sign of Pisces, the fish, could result in a need for empathy and compassion. As for and ingenious manipulations to find our way out. The same, Neptune retrogrades is Setsky square with the new moon, which can reactivate problems of misunderstandings or rupture by digging up the hatchet. Then work in tolerance, even if those around you do not adopt this required point of view. This moon will transit to Saturn on the 16th and 17th of October, and it will pass the point of apex 2 to 3 degrees of Gemini, opposite to Saturn on the 29th and 30th of October. Note your reaction, especially what echoes. Again, this Virgo axis Pisces. Do not confuse reality with unreality. How do you react during this Mercury demotion retrograde that has become alive on October 10th? And it will remain attentive to the effects of consequences of the downgrade, especially around the 18th or 19th of October. A word about Coach, Saturn. Why does it feel like a sanctioner? Then he represents construction and destruction. The structure of Saturn is a counterpart of Jupiter, expansion. This 20-year cycle is very important in the development of our personal and social growth. This real happiness is not the culmination of building stone by stone, no matter where the field is and what we call the aspect here. This is increased by the construction granted by the gods of the company. The construction led to the being, while fun back to having that fleeting feeling. So 13 plus 10 plus 2015 equals 13. This arcane symbol of the tarot. So what roots, what affiliations are we to discard to do revival and could emerge? This message of the 13th blade is very clear. What we have to change in appearance and what should be destroyed. Lead does not disappear. It only needs to change its texture. In the Hebrew letters, Mem is the 13th letter, which speaks of the human and heavenly parentage. What or whom do we remain still clinging? Mem, it has great power and purifier because it dissolves the lies, conscious or unconscious. On October 23rd, the sun enters into the sign of Scorpio here with the 8th sign. We enter into the world of the alchemist in the darkness.
Pluto is the cosmic eliminator. It brings things to the surface. All the waste that is our unconscious defenses refuses to face because it's too unbearable. Autumn sets in. The fruits are harvested, the leaves fall, and nights gradually nibble. Indian summer, for nature is about to hibernate. Values are bedding in the spring are in the process of metamorphosis. Scorpio is in the 8th stage of the zodiacal path from Aries. With its water element, its polarity is yin and fixed intensity. Scorpio complements the Taurian energy. We find it coupled Venus-Mars, but Pluto colored by this time. The full moon happening on October 27th. The full moon landing on the axis of 9th and 3rd house. The sun is at 3 degrees of Scorpio and the moon is at 3 degrees in Taurus. So Venus and Mars will also always be holding hands, protected by the Olympian god Zeus. And I will post down a diagram below describing the various placements. So 27 plus 10 plus 2015 equals 9, which is the 9th Right Awake deck, the Hermit card. And so again, the energy of the Hermit card is at this time of the full moon. And the Hermit allows the Wheel of Fortune to do its job, which too arrogant its ambition, should we give up our goal and humility and immune to interference and infiltration. Find our friend Hercules, who finished his mission with the Amazon when he crossed the energies of Taurus, opposite sign of Scorpio. The messages was clear in the step of the Hesperides. Hercules had to pick up the golden apples who belong to the world of the stars. So do not bother to identify these quote-unquote apples, only to be initiated by the son of the image of Hercules. Can approach the initiation of treasure. So in the step to Scorpio here, Hercules must transcend into the bowels of the earth to recapture this three-headed dog Cerberus. Through his work, Hercules shows that the integration of our own values, through the alchemical work of the forge, and thanks to our relationship to others. We must know how to be brave through the darkness, to enjoy the light, and push us towards our boundaries within our unconscious contents. And so, as always, these few lines of the monthly weather forecast I offer does not replace the overlays of the analysis of this astrological chart. So, but it allows each month that you can watch your astral mandala to locate where this full moon or new moon is happening in your chart. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave an email describing your birth date, time, place of birth, and I'll send you a physical print copy of your own chart. So we speak of the full and intense energy of the Scorpio full moon and the new moon happening on November 11th. But in the meantime, how do we address and greet these seeds deposited on October 13th? Well, the word is in the spotlight. Mercury conjuncts this black moon Lilith, opposite to Uranus and Pluto, double square. It is an illustration again. And again, we must ask the question, what are the insights that we could do on September 28th? So What are the irrational behavior that I noticed and noted that which are merely compensations? My need here is to be recognized, or in my needs to live in a consistent and fair environment. But the consistency, we must also calm his mind, and especially his emotions. Is it why it must be taken into account and give this the rightful place? All that is forced and manipulated without any knowledge. We all know that, hence the importance of mindfulness. Our emotions are just responding to events that we live in. Do not forget that emotions influence our heart rate. Around the November 1st, we have, according to our personal experience, opportunity to see more clearly in failures or in attitudes, balance of power. What will we must let go? And so the question is, the strength of our intuition will be present to help us see clearly. Believe in your own feeling. Let us not be influenced by feelings of being unloved, by outdated belief systems, believing that we cannot get rid of past shackles. On the other hand, the planet Virgo, we suggest restraint and discernment. All, on the other hand, Uranus and Aries invites us to get ever greater freedom. How can we express our sensory consistency with circumstances that we live in? In the summary, we should retain this time for the full moon. Being aware of our own values and how to express them, using your intuition to perceive beyond the veils, combining our sense of authority with the humility and helpfulness of others. Accept everything to the limits, and what we should do and involve them in our frustration. By closing this, I call upon the energies of this full moon and the astrological forecast of the October report. We're reaching a whole metamorphosis of change and transformation. These energies are about to be empowering each other for that energy that is to come for the next month. And so if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to leave a comment below. Have a great next month, and I'll see you in the next video slide.